Brian Powell of I Run Far here with Karl Meltzer before your second attempt to run the Appalachian Trail.
Yeah, 2,183 miles. We're going at it again. You know, in 2 days I'm leaving. We just put on the speed guild race. I got to put my stuff together tomorrow and we're off. Pretty excited.
So really, Saturday you put on a 400-person 50K.
Yeah.
Today you're breaking it down, or finished breaking it down. Tomorrow you pack, and Tuesday you're on the road.
Yeah, that's how it's going to work. And then a couple days at the wheel to catch up with other work things before I actually get on the trail and become off the radar. But it's been a great month and a half. I'm pretty wired. I've got my stuff together. I've got the right vehicle, the right crew, the knowledge of the trail a little more than last time. So hopefully things will go well for me. You know, it's being that long. It's an adventure, and you kind of have to just take it stride by stride and see how it goes. Hopefully it'll pan out well for me.
Last time you went was 2008. Where's Karl thing with backcountry.com. This year, you're not on the radar because you made announcements. And,
sure,
you know,
everyone knows. I think most people know I'm doing it, and which is great. And that's fine, but we're not really going to.
Still a very different approach.
Yeah, it's more of the stealth approach. I mean, call it stealth if you want. I mean, we have a van, a real tight van to sleep a few people instead of the RV. We'll be able to park at a lot of places that the RV couldn't park. And it's very simple with just 4 people crewing instead of somebody coming in every week, which was more of a promotional thing, which was cool in a way. But this time it'll be not really going to tell people where I am the first couple of weeks. We'll kind of let it evolve, and then hopefully, I'll still be going by the time I get to Pennsylvania or something like that. Then we might hear about it more. But I really just kind of want to get off the radar and do things on my own, and hopefully it'll go well. Hopefully it won't rain 9 inches in Maine that week.
Yeah, it was up. You got off to a rough start last time.
Well, we had a specific date to start, which was last time was August 5th, and which is fine in terms of the date, but it was like, well, we're starting this date regardless of the weather. This time I have a campsite at Katahdin Stream at the base of Katahdin, and for a couple days, you pay for that, but I mean, I'm just going to wait for the weather to be right so I can get across the Kennebec River, which is like 3.5 days into the route. So if I can get across that river and kind of through Maine, comfortable, and then from that point, I should be okay. But that's really the thing, is we're going to really play the weather and try to start off on the right track instead of just going. Because
last time, I mean, that really ruined any chance of you setting the record. Because it wasn't that there was 9 days of rain; it's that you got trench foot, and it sort of led to injury. And
the rain caused problems.
Yes.
The rain. It's funny because in 2008 I made my miles the first couple of days, even though it was tough and the rivers were sometimes just deep. But we made our miles, but I got stuck at the Kennebec. That was the initial thing where I couldn't get across the river. The river was 6 feet above flood stage. So the ferryman wasn't there. We had to stop. And he doesn't come back till the next morning. So I lost essentially a day there almost. So it's like, bam, then you're a day behind already. And that was like, well, that's a problem. And the way Maine is, it's very complicated to make certain times through there. So this time, we'll sleep on the trail, kind of the way Jen did a little bit. We'll play that game a little bit more and be more stealth about it. And my crew's pretty prepared for that. So hopefully, again, Maine, you have to kind of get through Maine to the Mahoosic Range and Grafton Notch in 6 days. If I can get there in 6 days, then bam, I think we're on our way to hopefully a successful route.
Who's on your team? Anybody coming back from 2008?
Yeah.
Was old man Karl coming out?
Old man, well, senior. Yeah, senior's coming back. I reconned the whole trail in May, and so I drove the whole thing, 2,000 miles. I drove to the East Coast. I reconned everything for my crew with my dad in Maine, so he got to see it again, which was really important because now there's no second guessing where to make turns for him and for our crew to follow him to the locations to see me. Last time they barely made it sometimes. So my dad is crewing. Yeah, he'll help out in Maine. Fred Abramowitz is going to kind of follow along and kind of jot down some notes about it. But the real crew is Mike Mason from North Carolina. He's an ultra runner too, good friend of mine, and speaks Maine language, so to speak. And then the next guy will be Eric Bells, who was on the Pony Express with me for 3 weeks. So he's money. He's coming with a small little towel to clean his body, stealth-wise. And then from that point, there's Billy Simpson, was on in 2008. He did the whole second half in 2008, and he knows me and the whole deal. My wife will finish. And then amongst those 4, I guess, Larry O'Neill is one of my good friends. He's going the whole way. So he's going top to bottom. He'll, call himself the captain, call him whatever you want. But I think it's really important to have one person all the way because he'll know the ins and outs and the upside downs of everything. After
so you have a routine.
We have a routine.
And
Last time we didn't have a routine. There was always a new guy every week, and you kind of train them for 3 days, and then they'd get it, but then they're gone 3 days later, and they have to coordinate a ride from the airport and back, and all these things. And now we're kind of doing it more stealth-wise, one guy, and it should go smoother. You know, it's really about it's 48 plus miles a day, which is huge for me and hard for as a runner. But the crew is like any 100-mile you run to. The crew is important, and I think if we can mesh together and not argue with each other too much, you know, we'll do pretty well. I think we have a pretty good lineup.
I mean, it's interesting. It sort of brings in what your sort of 100-mile philosophy. You rely heavily on crew. You don't do pacers, but you do crew.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're running solo. You're physically running solo out
and
there,
I can do it without crew, but at the same time, the crew is super important. I mean, they have to know what kind of read you know, and like when to say something and when not to say something, and when you need food or water or whatever. You know, I think after, you know, the first week will be a little bit of a learning curve for everybody, but once that first week goes by, we're going to know where everything is. Everything will have a home and a place, and then it'll just become routine. And on a route 2,000 miles long, anyone on the AT will tell you that you get your trail legs after about 3 weeks. So my really goal here is the first 3 weeks is to just give it a lot of respect, take your time, get your miles in, but take your time. I'm not going to rush. Like, we ran a little bit more than we probably should have last time early. It just felt good, you know. But this time I'll probably walk a lot more. I'm going to use poles this time, which will take a little shock off me. I have Hokas, which we all know have a little more cushion than any other shoe. So I really think that that's going to help a lot. You know, and then just the knowledge of kind of knowing what to expect all the time is going to make a big difference.
You say like 100 miles is not that far, but 2,000 miles is. And I'd imagine you've done this once. There's an emotional aspect to it. Like, it's not just getting out there every day. Like, you're saying, like, they have to say the right thing or not say the right thing. Like, you're going to be tired. You're going to have emotional stresses and fatigue.
Yeah,
like,
it's so mental out there. Every day you wake up, you start off in the dark, and you kind of get out of bed and you get going. And then once you kind of get going during the day, it's okay. But when you stop, it's like you have to mentally think, okay, do your stuff, and the next morning I get up and do it again. And when in 2008, my best day was in Virginia. I ran 60 miles, and I felt great that day. Like, I totally could have kept going. It wasn't even dark yet, but I went 9 miles the next day. I totally broke down. I did this first 9-mile section. I got in the RV, and I was like, I'm done. And I was just kind of mad and angry. And but I mentally broke down. And for that next week, or next 4 or 5 days or something, it was 9 miles, 19 miles, 29 miles. I mean, it was like mental. I had to slowly bring myself back mentally. I think this time I kind of know what to expect a little more, and I'm just going to keep trying to do when I have a bad 100-mile, or I kind of laugh at myself and I kind of move on usually, and I don't worry about things anymore. So hopefully, it is mental. And this is the thing too, is that if I'm off the record pace, something happens, I'm probably going to go home. If I know I'm not going to have a chance at the record, I'll probably go home. But
you say like a 100-mile when things are going wrong, you laugh at yourself. Is the 100 miles not that far? Is that sort of what you're getting at with that in part? Like,
well, it's kind of it's not that far. It's one day, you know. Yeah. This is a different thing. And when I think about 100 miles, I just tell myself in the AT, if I do a 50 miles, like, I mean, what is that? It's all day, big deal. I go to bed, you know. And you just have to kind of like take everything with a grain of salt and take the good with the bad, and just try to have fun with it. There's going to be really hard times when we're going uphill and I don't want to walk anymore, or something hurts. You know, I've got a pretty nasty neuroma on my left foot, and you have to wonder about that. But honestly, once I start going, even this morning, I start walking, I'm fine. And in Hokas, I don't even feel it. So hopefully that thing will survive too. I mean, who knows?
Big question mark.
It throws the question mark already on it, whether or not I'm going to be able to do it. But I'm definitely going to go after it. I don't think it doesn't hurt much when I run. It's kind of like when I wake up in the morning, like silly soreness. But I just like, whatever, just keep going, you know.
What caused you to go back out there again? Because you've done it.
Well, I kind of want that record.
What is the record?
It's 46 days, 10 hours, and I believe 21 minutes. I keep saying 12 minutes. I think it's 21 minutes, but 46, and that's basically 47 days. Because that last day, I mean, the last day here this time, if I'm doing well, when I'm probably about 100 miles out, probably going to just keep going. Last time I went 81 miles the last day because I was close enough to say, just keep going, Karl. But, you know, I've had this great career. I have all these 100-mile wins and all this wonderful time for 15 years running ultramarathons. And to me, if I can be successful on this is the big stamp on my career. And then I'm like, all right, I can rest And you know what happens after that? The AT is, I think a lot of people don't realize how hard it really is. Especially many of us out west. If you haven't really run back east, and the Whites are in Maine, the White Mountains in New Hampshire, it's very, very technical and hard. Maine has 120,000 vertical feet of climb roughly in less than 300 miles. That's hard rock. That's harder than hard rock. Way more technical than hard rock. It may not be at elevation, but it's pretty ridiculous. So you have to think about how hard that is, and you know, not one day in 2008 did we average faster than like 4 miles an hour.
And even, that's the hard part. And the easy part's at Virginia or something.
Yeah,
it's not easy. It's never easy.
No, it's up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down. Even Connecticut, you know, Connecticut, what? Pennsylvania, Rockville. Pennsylvania is ridiculous. And it's not that the mountains are big, but you're on ridges all the way, and it's kind of like me making a speed goat course. I kind of go the hard way. Well, the AT, you'll have a fire road next to the AT. The AT will be 20 feet over from the fire road, and it'll just be rocks instead of the smooth little track that someone built. So it's every state is hard. It's not like you get to the middle states where it's flatter. It's not flat. There's 500 and about 515,000 feet of climb, so 100 miles straight up, which is kind of ironic. So yeah, it's hard all the way to the end. Georgia's hard, Tennessee's hard. It's pretty ridiculous, but that's what I'm good at, and hopefully it'll be successful.
Yeah, what do you think is going to be the hardest part for you? Physical, mental, location, anything?
I think mentally you really have to stick with it. Technically, obviously, Maine and New Hampshire are the hardest parts of the trail, but you have to kind of get through the first 3 weeks. And last time I made it 2 weeks where I had that tendonitis thing. If we can get through the first 3 weeks, I think after that it'll become that routine. Kind of like the Pony Express was. I almost went down the second day on the Pony Express for my shins. If I can keep my shins intact too, that's why I went down in 2008 on the AT. I had tendonitis. Whether that was caused from the trench foot and curling your toes and all that kind of stuff is one thing, but we need to get through the first 3 weeks. And I think once I get my trail legs on, then it's time to go, you know. So I'm not going to try to gain ground. Like I always say, the rabbit rarely wins, but you don't try to be a rabbit on the AT. You just kind of keep hiking. And it's really a hike. I mean, I'll jog a little bit. It's a long hike.
I mean, are you even going to think about? I mean, do you know what Jennifer Farr Davis's splits are? Are you going to like try to completely block that out and just run your own?
Oh,
effort?
I have her itinerary for sure. And if you read 46 Days, which is Bruce's book, Jen's husband, who crewed her all the way, he wrote basically a chronological order of the way of what she did and kind of where she slept. Not all the time, pretty close. And sure, I have her itinerary, but I'm not going to try to follow Jen. That's kind of like running someone else's race. I'm not running someone else's race. I probably won't go the same miles she did the first day. She did 56 miles the first day, plus the 5 miles, so 61 really, from top of Katahdin is 5, and you turn around. So will I do that? I don't know. I don't think so. I'm probably going to go 47 or 48. There's a place I can stop there.
So you'll actually be more conservative in places.
A little bit more conservative early, and I'm not going to follow someone else's thing. I know where I need to be in 6 days to stay on it, and that's part of my cruise deal, is to keep me on pace for the first, roughly very close to on pace for the first couple weeks. And I think my running, I mean, I'm more of a runner than Jen is a runner, so I mean, hopefully if I get going, then I'll hopefully gain time later. No, I'm not gonna, nobody gains time in Maine and New Hampshire. It's silly to try to think you're going to gain time in those kind of mountains, because it's too slow. It's just,
I mean, what if you get excited that first week or two? Have you told your crew to calm me down?
You got to watch Larry sometimes. Larry gets a little competitive, and he goes, "Oh, we can go further." But no, I think I'm disciplined enough now that because I've done it, that I'm not really going to worry about it. It kind of is a matter of getting across that Kennebec River without having me have to stop and wait. Fording the river. I mean, Jen forded the river. She had someone who knew where every rock was in the river bottom. I don't have that, so I kind of have to make sure that I get across with the ferryman at the right time. So he's there like 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. And the way it pans out, I should get there like noon on the third day, I think, third or fourth day. So that should work. And then it's 17 miles after the river that you have no support. So I have to like get across that river and get that 17 miles down. But after that, you know, I just have to be patient and know where I'm at, and just, you know, if I fall a little bit behind, I can still gain ground later. It's like a long ways. You chip away at 1 mile per day, you still catch up, you know. What is
the daily pace that you have to? I mean, daily.
Well, the routine will be something like this. You wake up at probably 5. We'll do a little bit in the dark in the morning, and then we'll go until hopefully darkness. Now, my crew will determine, you know, there's all these road crossings, but the crew will determine whether we sleep at the road or whether we bring in what we call the stealth kit, which will have just a tent, 2 quick pads, you know, easy pads, and I won't carry it, my crew will. And it's not heavy, and then we'll eat before we go there. We eat cold food. We won't, not like we're going to wake up and cook. We'll just bang. Then when I sleep in the woods, next crew spot, then they'll feed me more real food. So hopefully that will work. It's just about, you know, our average pace will always be less than 4 miles an hour. You don't have to go that fast, and that's including stops. So when I'm jogging, I'm kind of jogging along easy. When I'm walking, I can walk 3 to 3.5 miles an hour pretty comfortably, unless it's real nasty. But you know, 3 to 4 is all you really need. You just have to be out there for 14 or 15 hours per day. So if you do the math, 3.2 miles an hour, 15 miles an hour, 40 miles a day. So
it's not that far.
Pretty good math, actually. No, it's not far at all.
No. Well, good luck out there, Carl.
Cool. It's going to be fun, man.
Is there any way we're going to be able to track? I mean, you're not going to have a spot or anything like that, but is there going to be any place where you can get some info?
Well, my Facebook page, I mean, you can look on there once in a while. We'll throw something on there once in a great while, but it's not going to be one of those things where I don't really want people to come out and run with me. It's not that I don't like that, but I kind of want to just do my own thing for the first couple weeks, and then once we see where we are, if things are going well again, people will start to hear about it more. I mean, no doubt about it. I mean, people are going to know I'm out there. People might be looking for me, but I really don't want it to be like I don't want it to be a party.
It's not a production.
It's not a production. It's just not a promotional thing. I'm funding this myself, which is kind of scratching my head on that a little bit, but at the same time, it's because I want it. It's my passion. And like I said this year to my wife, I'm like, I'm going to do it. I don't care what it costs. I'll pay for it later if I have to, whatever. This is what I like to do. This is my gig. So I'm going to go after it and see if I get it. And if I don't, then I'm going to go home and I'm going to continue on with my life like another normal day.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
And a bonus question for you.
Yeah.
What was your favorite memory from that 2008 trip?
Well, one thing that was really cool was when I was in Damascus, Virginia, this guy named Lone Wolf, he's been this AT guy for years, Lone Wolf. I got there and I said, hey, you got any moonshine? I mean, hey, we're in Virginia, Tennessee area, right? He's like, all right. It's kind of funny, but he's like, I'll be right back. And he came back a few days later and he had just a little bit of the moonshine. And we had some of that at the end, and that was like, the greatest thing was sitting on that rock at the end saying, wow, I'm done. But the funny thing was waking up the next morning saying, I don't have to go anywhere today. That felt weird. I just kind of wanted to keep going. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of great memories out there. There's a lot of some bad things, but just being out there and walking through the green tunnel of Maine. It is a green tunnel. You know, you don't see above you. You don't see things. That's the beauty of the AT, is that there aren't that many places you have these views. You're kind of in this tunnel, in this zone. And if I can stay in that zone, then hopefully I'll get there in 46, 10, and 10 minutes or something. It's not about how far you break the record. It's 1 minute is all that matters. So we'll see.
Good luck, Carl.
Thanks. All right. Thanks, Brian.